is an airport sitting on the flat, open plains east of Denver, Colorado, and it should not exist. Before we go any further into this story, if you want a brand new American mystery every single night, subscribe. One tap and a new story is waiting for you every evening. Picture it from above, the way a hawk might see it on a cold winter morning. The land stretches out in every direction, pale gold and brown, dry grass bending in the wind. The sky is enormous out here. It presses down on everything. And right in the middle of all that empty, open nothing, sits one of the largest airports ever built on American soil. Its white roof peaks rise like the teeth of some buried giant. They catch the light and glow against the gray sky. From a distance, the whole thing looks like a row of mountains made by human hands. Denver International Airport opened in February of 1995. It replaced Stapleton International, which sat closer to the city and worked just fine. Nobody was asking for a new airport. Nobody was demanding one. The city had no obvious reason to build something this large, this far out, this expensive. And yet, here it is, bigger than the island of Manhattan, sitting on 53 square miles of Colorado Prairie, the fifth busiest airport in the entire country. The official story is simple enough. Denver needed room to grow. Stapleton was landlocked. A new airport would bring jobs and money and a future to the region. That's what the city said. That's what the papers printed. And maybe some of that is true, but the numbers never added up. The original budget was set at $1.7 billion. By the time the airport opened, the cost had ballooned to $4.8 billion. That's more than $3 billion over budget. For context, that kind of overrun doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen because someone ordered too much concrete or misjudged the price of steel. Overruns like that have a reason. They always do. And then there were the delays. The airport was supposed to open in October of 1993. Then December. Then March of 1994. Then May. Then September. It kept slipping month after month for over a year. The official explanation was a broken baggage system. Automated carts that were supposed to carry luggage kept crashing into each other underground. The whole system had to be rebuilt from scratch. That's what they said. But construction workers on the site told a different story. They talked about tunnels, not the ones on the blueprints. Tunnels that went deeper than any baggage system needed to go. Tunnels that stretched out beyond the footprint of the airport itself. Tunnels that were poured and sealed before the main building was even framed. Some workers said they were told not to ask questions. Others said the sections they worked on were handed off to a completely different crew before they could see where the passage led. You have to understand something about this place. Denver sits almost exactly in the center of the continental United States. It is 1,000 miles from every coast. It rests at the base of the Rocky Mountains, which would slow or stop almost any kind of ground-based threat. The altitude is high. The bedrock is solid. The land around it is flat for 100 miles in every direction, which means you can see anything coming from a long way off. If you were going to build something underground that needed to survive almost anything, this is where you would build it. The murals inside the airport show scenes of war, death, and a new world rising from the ashes. A blue horse with glowing red eyes stands outside the main entrance and has already killed the man who made it. A dedication stone in the main hall bears the name of an organization that does not appear to exist anywhere in any public record. Gargoyles sit in the baggage claim area, watching travelers move through the terminal below. None of this was an accident. None of it was random. Someone chose every single one of these things deliberately, and nobody in any official capacity has ever fully explained why. This is the story of Denver International Airport. It is the story of what was built above the ground and what some people believe was built beneath it. It is the story of a city that spent billions of dollars it didn't have on a project nobody asked for, in a location that makes almost no sense unless you know what you're really looking for. And by the end of tonight, you just might. Denver sits at the edge of something vast. To the west, the Rocky Mountains rise up like a wall the earth built to remind you how small you are. Their peaks catch snow in September and hold it through June. In the right light, at the right hour, those mountains glow a shade of purple so deep it sidewalks painted. You can see them from 50 miles away, maybe more. To the east, the land just opens up. The high plains stretch out flat and wide and quiet, all the way to Kansas, all the way to nowhere. The grass out there is short and pale gold in summer. It turns silver in the wind. In winter, it disappears under snow that blows sideways and stings your face like thrown sand. There are no trees to slow it down. Nothing out there to stop anything. Denver grew up right between those two worlds. The mountains at its back, the plains at its feet. It became a city because of silver and gold, because men came west in the 1800s with picks and mules and big ideas. They found ore in the mountains, and they needed somewhere to spend their money. Denver was that somewhere. It grew fast. It grew loud. Hotels and banks and saloons went up almost overnight, built from timber and brick the color of dried blood. The streets were mud half the year and dust the other half. The whole city smelled like horses and coal smoke and ambition. By the time the 20th century arrived, Denver had cleaned itself up. The mud streets became paved ones. The saloons became restaurants. The city put on a suit and went to work. It became a hub for the American West, a place where railroads crossed and cattle deals were made and government offices set up shop. It had a certain pride to it, a certain confidence, a city that had survived its own wild beginning and decided to stay. And then, in the late 1980s, someone decided Denver needed a new airport. The old one was called Stapleton. It sat close to the city, hemmed in by neighborhoods that had grown up around it over the decades. Stapleton was cramped. It was loud. The runways were too close together for modern jets. The terminals were outdated. Everyone agreed it had to go. What they didn't agree on was where to put the new one. The answer they landed on was a stretch of open prairie, about 25 miles northeast of downtown. 25 miles. That's not a short drive. That's not a quick cab ride. That's a long way from the city center, farther than most major airports sit from their downtown cores. The land out there was flat and empty and cold. It was used for farming. Some of it wasn't used for much at all. Scrub grass, fence posts, the occasional hawk sitting on a wire, watching the nothing. The year was 1989 when the city broke ground. George H.W. Bush was in the White House. The Berlin Wall had just come down. The Cold War was gasping its last breath. The world felt like it was changing shape, like old orders were dissolving, and new ones hadn't quite formed yet. There was a strange energy in that era, a sense that the old rules no longer applied, that anything could be built, that anything could be hidden. The construction site covered 53 square miles. 53. That's larger than the entire city of San Francisco. Workers came from all over Colorado, all over the country. Heavy equipment moved in. Cranes rose up from the flat ground like metal trees. The prairie that had been quiet for 1,000 years suddenly roared with diesel engines and jackhammers, and the low groan of earth being moved. The soil out there is a reddish brown, almost clay-like. When it rains, it turns slick and heavy. When it dries, it cracks in long lines like a map of nowhere. The workers knew that soil well. They moved through it every day. They dug into it. They poured concrete into it. They went deep into it. That last part matters. The official plan called for a network of underground tunnels, baggage systems, train connections, utility corridors, all perfectly reasonable for an airport of this size. Nobody blinked at the idea of tunnels. Tunnels made sense, but the workers who dug them started to notice things. Small things at first, then bigger things. Things that didn't quite match the blueprints they'd been handed. Things that made them go quiet at the end of a long shift and stare at their boots and not say much. The prairie kept its secrets close. It always had. Federico Pena had a dream. He kept it folded up inside his chest like a letter he'd been carrying for years. He was Denver's mayor, thin man, sharp suit, the kind of person who walked into a room and made everyone else feel like they were standing still. He believed in big things. He believed Denver deserved a big thing. And in the late 1980s, he decided that big thing was going to be an airport. Not a better airport. Not a fixed airport. A new one from nothing. On empty land northeast of the city, where the wind came down flat cold off the plains, and there was nothing for miles but brown grass and pale sky. Peña stood at podiums and talked about the future. He used words like world-class and gateway. He smiled the smile of a man who had already decided. The people around him nodded. The city council voted, and the machines moved in. Then came the money. The original estimate was $1.7 billion. That's a number that sounds enormous until you watch it grow. And it grew, month by month, year by year. The cost climbed like something alive. By the time the airport finally opened in 1995, the bill had reached $4.8 billion. Nearly 3 times what anyone had promised. Cities go over budget. That happens. Roads cost more than expected. Buildings run long. But nearly 3 times over, that's not a rounding error. That's a different project. The man who had to answer for most of it was a city official named Wellington Webb. He replaced Peña as mayor in 1991, right in the middle of construction, and inherited the whole swelling mess. Webb was a big man, broad-shouldered, with a warm voice, and a way of making hard news sound like something you could live with. He stood at his own podiums and explained the overruns. He talked about soil conditions and design changes, and the complexity of building something that size from scratch. He wasn't wrong about any of that. The soil out there on the eastern plains is tricky. It shifts. It swells when it gets wet. Engineers had to go deep to find solid ground. The foundation work alone took longer than anyone planned, but the workers on the ground told a different story. A man named Roy Sherwood worked concrete on the project for 2 years. He was a quiet man, the kind who brought his lunch in a metal box and ate it the same way every day, sitting on the same overturned bucket, looking out at the same flat horizon. He didn't talk much, but years later he talked. He said the delays weren't just about soil. He said there were sections of the site where crews would finish a pour and then be told to stop. Just stop. Wait. Nobody explained why. The foreman would get a call. The crew would stand around. Then they'd be reassigned somewhere else, and a different crew would come in. Smaller, quieter. People Roy didn't recognize. He said those crews worked at night, was also a woman named Diane Murals who worked in the project's accounting office for 3 years. She had dark hair cut short and wore the same silver bracelet every day. A habit, she said, helped her think. She processed invoices, thousands of them. She said that certain line items came through with codes she didn't recognize, not unusual codes, not wrong codes, just codes that didn't match anything in the system she'd been trained on. When she asked her supervisor about them, he told her they were federal allocations, routed through a separate channel, not her department. She didn't push. She was practical. She had 2 kids and a mortgage, and she liked her job. But she remembered those codes. She remembered them the way you remember something that doesn't quite fit. The way a crooked picture on a wall stays in your mind long after you've left the room. The people who built Denver International Airport were mostly ordinary. Electricians and welders and surveyors and file clerks, people who drove to work in the dark and drove home in the dark and didn't ask too many questions because that's how you keep a job. They poured the concrete. They ran the wire. They did what they were told. But some of them saw things, small things, things that didn't add up. A door in a wall that led nowhere. A corridor that wasn't on any blueprint they'd been given. A section of tunnel that went deeper than the plans said it should. They didn't talk about it right away. Most of them waited years. Some of them are still waiting. The money went somewhere. The question is where. Every airport has a hidden life beneath it. You just never think about it. You walk through the terminal. You find your gate. You sit down and stare at the departure board and drink your coffee and wait. The world above the floor is all glass and light and announcements. But below your feet, something else is moving. Carts rolling through tunnels. Luggage sliding along conveyor belts. Workers in orange vests pushing through dim corridors that smell like rubber and recycled air. It's a whole other city down there. And at Denver International, that city is bigger than most people ever imagine. The airport opened in 1995. When it did, officials were proud to talk about the underground system. They had every reason to be. It was one of the most ambitious automated baggage systems ever built in America. Miles of tunnels, hundreds of electric carts, a network of tracks and sensors, and conveyor lines that could move a suitcase from check-in to the belly of a plane in minutes. The engineers called it a marvel. The press called it the future. For a little while, everyone believed them. The tunnels run beneath all three concourses. Concourse A, Concourse B, Concourse C. They stretch out from the main terminal like the roots of a very old tree, spreading wide and deep under the pale Colorado earth. The carts that travel through them are small and electric and quiet. They hum along in the dark, carrying bags tagged with barcodes, following instructions sent from computers somewhere above. No driver, no windows, just the hum and the dark, and the steady mechanical rhythm of things going where they're supposed to go. Workers who move through those tunnels every day will tell you it's easy to lose track of time down there. There's no sunlight, no weather. The temperature stays the same year-round, cool and dry, like the inside of a cave that's been sealed for a long time. The fluorescent lights buzz softly overhead. The air smells faintly of machine oil and concrete dust. You could walk for a long time and not see another person, just the carts rolling past, going somewhere you can't quite follow. Above ground, the airport breathes with the rhythm of arrivals and departures. Morning brings the business travelers, rolling their small black bags through the white light of the main hall. The ceiling soars above them, pale and peaked like a row of mountain tents. White fabric stretched over steel ribs. The Rocky Mountains sit out there beyond the glass, blue and distant, capped with snow most of the year. The view from the terminal is one of the finest in the country. Wide open sky, flat prairie running out to the west, the mountains rising up like a wall at the edge of the world. By afternoon, the terminal fills with families, kids dragging stuffed animals, grandparents moving slowly through the crowd, the smell of fast food drifting out from the concession stands, the sound of rolling wheels on polished floors. It's ordinary. It's comfortable. It's every airport you've ever been in, just a little larger, a little newer, a little more spread out across the prairie than seems quite necessary. And then evening comes. The crowds thin. The announcements grow quieter. The big windows go dark and the mountains disappear and the terminal settles into a kind of hush. The cleaning crews come out. The carts in the tunnels keep moving. They don't stop at night. The baggage system runs around the clock, humming along in the dark beneath the sleeping travelers stretched out across rows of seats. That system, the official one, the one they showed on the news and printed in the brochures, runs through roughly 26 miles of tunnel. That's the number the airport has always been willing to share. 26 miles. Enough to move luggage efficiently across one of the largest airport campuses in the world. Enough to justify the cost overruns, the delays, the years of construction that left everyone scratching their heads. 26 miles sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But here's the thing about that number. It's the number they gave you. It's the number that appears in the official reports and the press releases and the airport's own public documents. It accounts for the baggage system. It accounts for the people movers. It accounts for the maintenance corridors and the utility lines and the service routes. It does not account for everything that workers found when they were digging. And some of what they found, nobody put in any brochure. The ordinary world of Denver International is real. The tunnels they showed you are real. But the ground beneath an airport built on empty prairie has a way of holding more than anyone planned to put there. So here is what they told you about the tunnels. They told you there were 19 miles of underground track, automated trains, baggage carts moving through the dark at 19 miles per hour, guided by sensors, carrying your suitcase from the check-in counter to the belly of the plane. They told you it was efficient, modern, a marvel of airport engineering. They told you the tunnels were built for luggage, and that was all, and that was enough, and you should stop asking. Most people did stop asking. A few didn't. When you walk through Denver International today, you can feel the underground, not see it, feel it. There's a low hum that lives beneath the polished floors, a vibration that travels up through the soles of your shoes and into your legs. Workers who have spent years in that building say you stop noticing it after a while. Your body just absorbs it. The hum becomes part of you, like a second heartbeat, running just a little slower than your own. The official tunnels run beneath the main terminal, and the 3 concourses. They are real. They are documented. You can find blueprints. You can read about them in engineering journals. The automated baggage system cost $311 million and never worked right. Bags ended up in the wrong cities. Bags ended up shredded. The system was so broken that United Airlines ran a second parallel baggage system by hand, just to make sure your luggage actually got where it was going. 2 systems, one that worked, one that didn't, and the one that didn't cost more than most countries spend on airports in a decade. That's the official story. That's the tunnel they showed you. Now, here's the part they didn't put in the brochure. During construction, workers noticed something. Not all at once. Slowly, the way you notice a smell before you can name it. The tunnel system on the blueprints didn't match the tunnel system in the ground. There were passages that appeared on no drawing, corridors that led somewhere the maps said was solid earth. Workers would follow a tunnel expecting a dead end and find instead a junction, a branch, a door. Some of those doors were locked. One construction foreman, a man who'd worked underground projects across the American West, said he walked into a section of tunnel that felt wrong. Not dangerous, just wrong. The air was different, cooler, and with a faint smell like concrete that had been poured recently, though no crew had been working in that section for weeks. The lights in that corridor were a different color than the rest, slightly bluer, like the light inside a walk-in freezer or the light that comes through ice. He didn't go further. He turned around, walked back, and filed a report. Nobody followed up on the report. That detail matters. Not because one man saw one strange hallway, but because he filed a report and nothing happened. In a project this size, with this many oversight committees and this many federal contracts, a report about an unauthorized tunnel section should have triggered an investigation, should have triggered something. Instead, the paperwork sat. The foreman was reassigned to a different section of the site. He finished his contract. He went home to New Mexico, and the corridor with the blue light stayed where it was, under the prairie, under the concrete, under the hum. There's a man who used to drive the maintenance vehicles through the lower levels at night. He worked the overnight shift for almost 3 years. He knew those tunnels the way you know your own house in the dark. He knew every turn, every junction, every section of wall where the paint had started to peel. He said there was one stretch of tunnel, maybe a quarter-mile east of Concourse B, where his radio would cut out every single night. Same spot. He'd lose contact with the surface, drive through the dead zone, and come out the other side with his radio crackling back to life. He asked the engineers about it once. They told him it was interference from the electrical systems. Normal. Nothing to worry about. He said it didn't feel like electrical interference. He said it felt like something between him and the sky. That's the thing about the tunnels they didn't show you. Nobody is saying monsters live down there. Nobody is saying anything dramatic. They're just saying the maps don't match the ground. They're saying the reports went nowhere. They're saying the lights were the wrong color and the radio went quiet and the air smelled like fresh concrete in a place where no one had been pouring concrete. Small things, quiet things, the kind of things you notice when you're paying attention. The men who built Denver International Airport didn't talk much at first. That's the thing about construction workers. They keep their heads down. They do the job. They cash the check and go home to their families and eat dinner and don't ask too many questions. That's how it works on most sites. But this site was different. The stories started coming out slowly. A few words over coffee at a diner on Pena Boulevard. A quiet conversation in a truck cab with the engine running. A phone call to a brother-in-law who also worked the site and had seen the same strange thing on a different shift. The stories didn't come out all at once. They leaked out the way water finds cracks in old concrete. The workers had been hired in rotating crews. That part was unusual right away. Most big construction jobs, you build a team and you keep it. You get to know the guys beside you. You learn the whole picture of what you're making. But at DIA, crews were brought in for specific sections and then cycled out before the next phase began. One crew poured the concrete for a stretch of tunnel. Another crew came in to finish it. Neither crew saw the full run of what they'd built. Some of the men thought it was just poor management. Denver had a reputation for that by then. The project was already over budget and behind schedule. Maybe the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. That's a reasonable explanation. That's the kind of thing you tell yourself when you want to sleep at night. But some of the workers started comparing notes, and the notes didn't add up. A few of them talked about tunnels that went deeper than the blueprints showed. Not a little deeper, significantly deeper. One man, a concrete finisher who worked the eastern section of the underground system, said he followed a tunnel one afternoon during a break and found a passage that branched off at a downward angle. The walls were already poured and finished. The floor was smooth. The lighting was in place. But nobody on his crew had built that section. Nobody he knew had built it. It was just there, finished, waiting. He told his foreman. The foreman told him to get back to work. Another worker, a steel fabricator who asked not to be named, said he helped install ventilation shafts that were far too large for a baggage system. He'd worked on airports before. He knew what baggage tunnels needed. These shafts were built to move serious volumes of air. The kind of air circulation you'd need if a large number of people were living underground for an extended period of time. He said it plainly, without drama. He wasn't trying to scare anyone. He was just describing what he saw with his own hands. Word got to the neighborhoods around the airport. Denver is a city, but it has small town bones. People talk. The old-timers in Aurora and Commerce City had their own memories to add. Some of them remembered the land before the airport came. They remembered when it was flat and empty, and the wind came across it with nothing to stop it for 50 miles. They remembered the government surveys in the late 1980s. The men with equipment walking the prairie in straight lines, taking measurements that nobody explained. One woman who grew up near the old Stapleton airport said her father had worked on early site preparation for DIA. He came home one evening and told her mother that the ground out there wasn't as empty as it looked. He didn't say more than that. He was a quiet man, but she remembered the way he said it, like he was setting something down that was heavier than he expected. The stories gathered the way clouds gather on a Colorado afternoon, slowly, then all at once. By the time the airport opened construction workers had scattered to other jobs in other cities. But the stories stayed. They passed from person to person the way all good stories do, picking up detail as they went, losing nothing essential. Nobody had the whole picture. That was the thing that kept people talking. If one man had seen everything, you could dismiss him. You could say he was confused or exaggerating or looking for attention. But these were dozens of separate men in separate parts of the site, on separate shifts, describing separate pieces of the same strange shape. None of them knew each other. None of them had compared notes before they started talking. And yet the shape they described, taken all together, was the same shape. Something large, something deep, something already finished before the airport above it was even begun. Before the airport had a name, it had walls. And on those walls, someone painted the end of the world. 4 murals, each one massive, each one strange in a way that's hard to put into words, but easy to feel the moment you stand in front of them. They hang in the main terminal of Denver International Airport, right where millions of travelers pass through every year. Most people glance up, feel something cold move through them, and keep walking. A few stop. A few can't look away. The artist was a man named Leo Tanguma, a Chicano muralist from Texas with a long history of painting big, bold, political work. He was hired by the airport in the early 1990s to create something meaningful, something that would make people think. He succeeded, maybe too well. The first mural is called Children of the World Dream of Peace. It sounds gentle. It isn't. The painting shows a massive soldier figure in a gas mask, wearing a military coat the color of dead leaves. He carries a rifle with a bayonet. In one hand, he holds a curved sword. Around him, children lie sleeping or weeping or already gone. The colors are dark greens and grays, like the sky before a storm that doesn't pass. Doves hang in the air, but they look frozen, like they forgot how to fly. Below the soldier, there are children from every nation. They're wrapped in the flags of their countries. Some of them look peaceful. Some of them look like they were laid down very carefully by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The second mural shows something different. A city on fire, buildings crumbling into dust, a forest burning at the edges, the trees black and skeletal against an orange sky, animals going extinct in real time, their bodies stiff and formal, like specimens in a museum that hasn't opened yet. A long line of women, hollow-eyed, carrying dead children wrapped in white cloth. The whole painting has the feeling of a memory, not a warning, a memory. Here is where the directive of this section matters, because these images didn't come from nowhere. They came from somewhere very old. The land beneath Denver International Airport sits at the edge of what the Arapaho and Cheyenne people called home for generations. This was their country. The high plains, the dry grass, the wide open sky that goes on longer than you think it should. They knew this land the way you know your own hands. Every creek, every ridge, every place where the wind changes direction for no reason you can name. In 1864, something happened not far from here. About 170 miles southeast, at a place called Sand Creek, a group of Cheyenne and Arapaho people had gathered there under a flag of peace. They believed they were safe. They were not. What happened next is one of the darkest chapters in Colorado's history. Hundreds of people were killed. The land absorbed it. The land always absorbs it. The murals at Denver International Airport don't reference Sand Creek directly, but the imagery sits in the same tradition. The sleeping children, the soldier with the sword, the women carrying the dead. These are images that indigenous artists and storytellers have carried for a very long time. They surface in new places. They find new walls. Tanguma himself said the murals were about hope. The second panel of each mural shows a brighter world. Children celebrating. Nature restored. The soldier's weapons beat into tools. He meant it as a story with two halves. Darkness, then light. But most people only remember the darkness. And that's the thing about this place. The airport sits on land that has seen real darkness, not the invented kind, not the kind from movies, the kind that soaks into the soil and stays there for a very long time, the kind that makes animals nervous and makes people feel, without knowing why, that something important happened here once. The mural commissioned them knew it. The images are too specific to be accidents. The gas mask, the sword, the burning forest, the children laid out in rows. These aren't abstract. They're precise. They look like someone was painting from a memory or a plan or something in between. Tanguma painted what he was asked to paint. He added his own vision to it. The result is something that has made millions of people uncomfortable for 30 years and counting. Art can do that. Art can hold a truth that no one is ready to say out loud. The murals are still there. They're not going anywhere. And neither is the question of why, exactly. Someone wanted them painted in the first place. There's a man named Phil Goodstein. He's a Denver historian. He writes books about the city, its neighborhoods, its politics, its buried past. He's the kind of man who reads city council minutes for fun, who calls up strangers and asks them what they remember, who believes that if you pull enough threads, something true will eventually fall out. Phil started asking questions about the airport in the mid-1990s, not because he believed in secret bunkers or shadow governments. He started because the numbers didn't add up. The cost overruns, the delays, the tunnels that went nowhere on the official maps. He was a historian. Numbers that don't add up are an invitation. He wasn't alone. Around the same time, a handful of journalists and local reporters started poking around too. They'd heard the same things the construction workers were saying. They'd seen the murals, and then they saw the horse. You have to understand something about the horse before we go any further. It stands outside the main entrance to Denver International Airport. It's 32 feet tall. It weighs 9,000 pounds. It's made of fiberglass over a steel frame, and it is the color of a bruise, a deep electric blue that catches the light like something alive. Its muscles are pulled tight under its skin. Its mane is wild. Its nostrils are flared, and its eyes glow red. Not painted red, not reflective red. They are lit from inside, two burning points of light that watch every car pulling into the arrivals lane. The locals call it Lucifer. The artist who made it was a New Mexico sculptor named Luis Jimenez. He spent years on that horse. He believed in it. He said it was meant to represent the wild spirit of the American West, the Mustang, the untamed land, the force of nature that no city could fully contain. He had a name for it too. He called it Blue Mustang, but the horse killed him. In 2006, a section of the sculpture broke free in his studio. It fell and severed an artery in his leg. Luis Jimenez died from the wound. The horse he had spent years building was the thing that ended him. His family finished the work. The airport installed it in 2008, and there it has stood ever since, glowing red in the dark, watching the road. Phil Goodstein heard that story. Most people who heard it shuddered and moved on. Phil wrote it down and kept going. He started cross-referencing the airport's public records with the actual construction timeline. He found gaps, not small ones, long stretches where work was being done underground that didn't appear in any public-facing document. He found references to contractors who were brought in, paid, and then replaced, not because of poor work, but seemingly to keep any single crew from seeing the full picture. He talked to people who had worked the job. They told him about the depth of certain excavations, about sections of tunnel that were sealed before the airport opened, about the feeling more than once of being somewhere that wasn't meant to be seen. None of them could prove anything. That's the thing about this kind of investigation. You find the shape of something without ever touching it directly. You find the outline in the negative space, what's missing, what's redacted, what nobody will confirm or deny. Phil published what he found. He was careful. He didn't call it a conspiracy. He called it a series of unanswered questions about a public building paid for with public money. He said the people of Denver deserved to know what was under their airport. The airport's official response was measured. They said the tunnels were for the baggage system. They said the cost overruns were due to technical complications. They said the murals were art. They said the horse was a tribute to the West. They said nothing about the red eyes. And that's the thing that stays with you. Not the tunnels, not the murals, not the numbers. It's the horse, because someone chose it. Someone approved it. Someone signed off on a 32-foot, glowing-eyed blue stallion as the first thing you see when you arrive in Denver. Someone decided that was the right welcome. That was the right symbol. Phil Goodstein kept writing. The journalists kept asking. The airport kept answering in the careful, even tone of people who have practiced their answers. And the horse kept standing there in the Colorado wind, lit from within, watching the cars come and go. It has no apologies. It never did. That was always the point. There are 2 bronze gargoyles sitting in the baggage claim at Denver International Airport. They sit inside open suitcases. They have wings folded against their backs, clawed feet, and wide stone, eyes that catch the light in a certain way. Most people walk right past them. They're tired. They're dragging bags. They're looking for a taxi. But some people stop. Some people look at those gargoyles for a long moment, and something shifts inside them, something they can't quite name. A woman named Carol flew into Denver in the winter of 2009. She was visiting her daughter for the holidays. She'd flown dozens of times in her life and never thought much about airports. They were just places you passed through. But she came around the corner toward baggage claim and stopped cold. There were the gargoyles, crouched in their suitcases, watching the crowd. She said it felt like they were watching her specifically, like they had been waiting. She stood there long enough that her daughter had to come find her. Carol told her daughter she felt like she'd walked into someone else's dream. A man named Robert was a contractor. He worked in commercial construction for 30 years. He flew through Denver regularly for work. He said the gargoyles never bothered him the first few times he saw them. But one afternoon, coming back from a long job in Phoenix, he was tired and moving slow. He sat down near the baggage carousel and looked up at one of them. He said the eyes caught the overhead light just right. For a second, just 1 second, he thought it blinked. He laughed about it later. But he also said he never sat near them again. Now, the airport will tell you the gargoyles are art. They're part of the permanent collection. They were placed there on purpose, with a sense of humor, to greet arriving passengers. There are even small plaques nearby. The plaques say the gargoyles are there to protect travelers. They say it in a friendly way, like a joke you're meant to smile at. And maybe that's all it is. A joke. A bit of whimsy in a very large, very strange building then there's the woman who worked the baggage carousel for 6 years. She asked not to use her name, so we'll call her Me. Me said that in all her years working that section of the airport, she watched thousands of people walk past those gargoyles. Most didn't notice, but the ones who did notice all reacted the same way. They slowed down. They got quiet. They looked at the gargoyles the way you look at something that used to be alive. Me said she started keeping a mental count. She said it was always the same kind of person who stopped. Not the nervous ones, not the distracted ones, the still ones, the ones who were already paying attention to the world around them. There's something about the placement of those gargoyles that people keep coming back to. They're not near the entrance. They're not near the exits. They're at the baggage claim, which is the one place in an airport where you have no choice but to wait. You stand there and you watch the carousel go around, and you have nothing to do but exist in that space. And that's when the gargoyles have you. That's when you finally look up. A retired school teacher named Helen flew through Denver every year to visit her brother in Colorado Springs. She said she made a habit of saying good morning to the gargoyles every time she passed through. She thought it was silly, but she did it anyway. One year she forgot. She was running late, rushing through the terminal, and she blew right past them without a word. She made her connection. She had a fine trip, but she said the whole visit felt slightly off, like a song played in the wrong key. She couldn't explain it. She just felt it. That's the thing about the gargoyles. Nobody can explain why they're there in any satisfying way. The art and whimsy answer is fine. It makes sense on the surface, but gargoyles have a history that goes back a long time. In the old cathedrals of Europe, gargoyles were placed at the edges of buildings to ward off evil. They were guardians. They were watchers. They were meant to sit at the threshold between the sacred and the ordinary world and keep the wrong things from crossing over. Denver International Airport put 2 of them in the baggage claim, in the suitcases, watching the door. You can decide what that means, or you can just walk past them like everyone else. But now you know they're there, and somehow knowing changes things. Walk slow through the main terminal at Denver International. Don't rush. Don't look at the departure boards. Look down. The floor is pale granite, cream and white and gray, polished so smooth it catches the light like still water. Thousands of people walk across it every single day. Rolling suitcases, running children, tired travelers in thick socks and headphones. Nobody stops. Nobody looks down long enough to see what's actually there. But it's there, pressed into the stone, inlaid in darker colors, are symbols, geometric shapes, lines that cross and curve and meet at precise angles. Some of them look like compass roses. Some look like something older than that, something you'd find carved into a stone wall in a place where the air smells like dust and centuries. Now, airports have logos. Airports have branding. That's normal. You expect to see a city seal, maybe a stylized mountain range, the kind of clean modern design that a committee approved in a conference room somewhere. That's not what this is. These symbols don't match Denver's official seal. They don't match Colorado's state flag. They don't match anything in the airport's published design documents. And when curious, people started asking the airport authority where the symbols came from, who ordered them, what they mean, the answers they got back were soft and vague. General references to art, to regional themes, to the spirit of the American West. That's not an answer. That's a way of not giving one. Here's what makes people stop and stare. The symbols in the floor line up, not randomly, not decoratively, but with intention. If you trace a line from certain inlaid markers near the main entrance, that line points toward the center of the terminal. And from the center of the terminal, other lines extend outward, like spokes on a wheel, like points on a compass, like a map drawn in stone, waiting for someone who knows how to read it. People who study old fraternal orders, old secret societies, old architectural traditions, they recognize this kind of design. It's called a radiant layout. It shows up in certain very old buildings, cathedrals, Masonic lodges, places where the floor itself was meant to carry meaning, where the geometry wasn't decoration, but instruction. The same people who noticed the floor noticed something else. The symbols appear in clusters, and those clusters correspond, roughly, to the locations of the underground tunnels below. Not the public tunnels, the baggage system everyone knows about. The other ones. The ones that workers described going deeper than the official blueprints show. Stand in one of those clusters and look up. The ceiling above you is high and white and vaulted, like the inside of a tent made of steel and canvas. The light comes in from above, pale and even, the color of winter sky. It's beautiful in a way that feels almost too deliberate, like someone designed this space to feel sacred. And maybe they did. People who have worked in the terminal for years, the ones who mop the floors at 3 in the morning when the building is nearly empty. Some of them have noticed the symbols too. A few of them have talked. Not loudly, not on camera, but in the way that people talk when they've seen something they can't explain. And they need to say it out loud just once, just to make sure they're not imagining it. One woman, a cleaning supervisor who worked the overnight shift for almost a decade, told a local blogger that she used to avoid certain sections of the floor, not because they were dirty, because they made her feel watched. She said the symbols in those sections were different from the others, heavier somehow. She couldn't explain what she meant by that. She just said she felt it in her feet. That's not evidence. Nobody's claiming it is, but it rhymes with something. It rhymes with the gargoyles watching from their bronze cases. It rhymes with the murals and their hidden figures. It rhymes with the tunnels and the extra floors and the workers who came home quiet and didn't want to talk about what they'd seen. When enough things rhyme, you start to hear a song. The symbols in the floor of Denver International Airport were not in the original public design documents. They were not commissioned by any department that has identified itself. They are there. They are precise, and they point somewhere. Where they point is the question that keeps people coming back. That keeps people walking slow through the terminal, looking down at the pale stone, tracing the lines with their eyes. The floor knows something. It just isn't saying it plain. Near the main entrance of Denver International Airport, set into the floor like a grave marker, there is a large stone. It's made of capstone granite, pale and smooth, the color of old bone. Travelers walk past it every day. Most don't stop. Most don't look down. But if you do look down, you'll see words carved into that stone never fully made sense to anyone who has tried to explain them. The stone is called a dedication stone. Airports have them. Buildings have them. It's a tradition as old as cities. You mark the moment something was born. You carve the date. You name the people who made it happen. That's all a dedication stone is supposed to be. This one is different. The date on the stone reads March 19, 1994. That's the day the stone was placed. The airport wouldn't open for almost another year, but the stone went in early, the way a cornerstone does, the way a promise does. Beneath the date, there are symbols: a compass, a square, the tools of a mason, carved in clean, deliberate lines. Those symbols belong to the Freemasons, one of the oldest fraternal orders in the Western world. Their presence on a public airport's dedication stone raised eyebrows. But it was the name below those symbols that made people stop cold. The stone says it was placed by the New World Airport Commission. Read that again slowly. The New World Airport Commission. Nobody had heard of them. No reporter covering the airport's construction had mentioned them. No city document listed them. No government filing named them. When curious people started asking questions after the airport opened in 1995, they couldn't find a single record of the New World Airport Commission existing anywhere outside of that stone. The name itself carries weight. New World is not a neutral phrase. It echoes through centuries of history. It appears in the writings of philosophers who dreamed of a perfect society, rebuilt from scratch, governed by a chosen few. It appears in the speeches of men who believed the old order of nations was ending, and something else was rising to take its place. The phrase has a gravity to it, a pull, and here it was, carved in granite, sitting in the floor of the busiest airport between Chicago and Los Angeles. The stone also lists names, individual names carved in rows, people who supposedly represented this commission. Some of those names belonged to real people, local businessmen, civic figures, men who were part of Denver's power structure in the early 1990s. But the organization itself, the commission as a body, as a legal entity, as anything you could look up or verify, it didn't seem to exist. When journalists pressed city officials for answers, the responses were vague. Some said the commission was an informal group, a booster club of sorts, people who supported the airport's construction and wanted to mark the occasion. Some said it was a ceremonial title, nothing more. One official suggested it was simply a name someone chose because it sounded grand, and that no one should read anything into it. But here is what people kept coming back to. You don't carve a name into granite by accident. Granite is permanent. Granite is intentional. When you cut words into stone, you mean them. You choose them carefully, and someone, somewhere, chose the name New World Airport Commission and decided it was the right name to put on the dedication stone of an airport that had already attracted more questions than any public building in Colorado's history. The Freemason symbols added another layer. The Masons have been part of American public life since the beginning. George Washington was a Mason. Benjamin Franklin was a Mason. Many of the men who designed Washington, D.C. were Masons, and their symbols are woven into that city's streets and monuments in ways that still spark debate. The compass and square on Denver's dedication stone weren't hidden. They were right there, in plain sight, in the floor of a public terminal. Some people see that as proof of nothing. Masons dedicate buildings all the time. It's a tradition, not a conspiracy. Other people see it differently. They see an organization with no paper trail placing its name on a $1 billion piece of public infrastructure, surrounded by symbols of a secret brotherhood, in an airport built on land that workers said went deeper than anyone admitted. They see a stone that was meant to be walked over, meant to be ignored, meant to blend into the floor like any other piece of granite. And they wonder why, if there was nothing to hide, the name on that stone belonged to a group that nobody could find. So you've heard about the stone, the capstone in the Great Hall, set into the floor like a grave marker. It carries a date, it carries symbols, and it carries a name, the New World Airport Commission. That name is the thing that stays with you, not the murals, not the gargoyles, not the tunnels that run deeper than any luggage cart needs to go. The name. Because when people started asking questions about it, they ran into something strange. something quiet and still, like a room where all the air has been removed. The New World Airport Commission did not exist. Not before the airport. Not during the construction. Not in any registry of civic organizations, business groups, or private foundations that anyone could find. There was no address, no phone number, no list of members, no tax filings, no meeting minutes, no press releases, no newspaper mentions, nothing. The organization that dedicated the capstone of a major American airport left behind no paper trail at all. Think about what that means for a moment. When a local business sponsors a building, they leave a record. When a civic group funds a plaque, their name appears in meeting notes, in donor lists, in the small print of city contracts. That's how organizations work. They exist on paper. They have to. The law requires it. The New World Airport Commission had none of that. Reporters asked the airport authority about it. Officials gave careful answers. They said it was a group of local business leaders who came together to celebrate the airport's opening. They said it was informal. They said it was temporary. They said it was nothing to worry about. But nobody could name a single member. Not one person stepped forward and said, "I was part of that. I attended those meetings. I signed that stone." Not one business put it on their letterhead. Not one civic leader claimed credit. For an organization that supposedly celebrated one of the largest public construction projects in American history, the New World Airport Commission was completely invisible. The name itself is worth sitting with. New World. That phrase carries weight. It has history behind it. Explorers used it when they crossed the Atlantic and found land they hadn't expected. Secret societies used it when they talked about rebuilding civilization from the ground up. It shows up in old texts and older promises. It is not a casual phrase. It is not the kind of thing a group of Denver businessmen would accidentally choose for a celebration committee. And then there's the word commission. Not club, not committee, not association, commission. A commission is a body with authority. A commission is given a task. A commission reports to someone. So the question that hangs in the air is simple. Who gave them the task? And who did they report to? nobody answered that question. Nobody tried very hard to answer it. The stone stayed in the floor. The name stayed on the stone. And the organization stayed nowhere at all. Some people looked into the Freemason connection. The capstone ceremony had all the marks of a Masonic cornerstone ritual. The square and compass were right there, carved into the stone for anyone to see. The airport authority confirmed that a Masonic lodge had participated in the dedication. That part was real. That part was documented. But the New World Airport Commission was listed separately. It was its own thing. The Masons were one group. The commission was another. And only one of them could be found. There's a particular feeling you get when you pull on a thread and find it doesn't lead anywhere. Not to a knot, not to a tangle, just to open air. Like the thread was never attached to anything in the first place, or like whatever it was attached to has already been removed. That's the feeling people got with the New World Airport Commission. The stone is still there. You can walk up to it. You can read the name with your own eyes. The letters are clean and deep, cut into black granite, permanent as anything in that building. The name is real. The stone is real. The dedication happened. The organization simply cannot be found. And maybe that's the detail that matters most. Not the tunnels, not the murals, not the horse with the glowing red eyes standing at the entrance like a sentinel from another age. Those things can be explained, or at least argued about. The art is strange, but art is allowed to be strange. The tunnels are deep, but tunnels can have reasons. But an organization that dedicated a public building and then vanished completely, leaving no members, no records, and no explanation. That's a different kind of mystery. That's the kind that doesn't go away. Some people looked at all of this and shrugged. They looked at the murals, the gargoyles, the dedication stone, the strange commission name, and they said, "So what?" They said airports are weird. They said artists make strange choices. They said committees pick bad names all the time, and nobody thinks twice about it until someone on the internet decides it means something sinister. These people aren't fools. They're worth listening to. The skeptics have a clean, simple argument. Denver International Airport was a massive public project. Thousands of workers built it. Hundreds of contractors signed off on every inch of it. City officials held press conferences. Journalists covered it for years. If there were secret tunnels running 40 stories underground, if there were hidden floors stocked with food and water, and bunks for the powerful, someone would have talked. Someone always talks. That's the nature of secrets. They don't stay buried when too many hands helped dig the hole. They point to the baggage system. Remember the baggage system, the one that failed so badly it delayed the airport's opening by 16 months. That system was built by a private company called Bay Automated Systems, and it was supposed to be a marvel of modern engineering. Instead, it chewed up luggage like a wood chipper and spat out broken suitcases across miles of underground track. The skeptics say this is your proof. If the people who built Denver Airport couldn't even get the bags from the plane to the carousel without disaster, how on earth were they secretly constructing a shadow city beneath the earth at the same time? It's a fair point. It lands hard. They also point to the murals. Leo Tanguma, the artist who painted them, is still alive. He has given interviews. He has explained his work. He says the dark panels, the ones with the burning cities, and the children in coffins, and the soldier in a gas mask, those are warnings. They show the horrors of war and environmental destruction. The bright panels that follow show children of the world coming together in peace. It's a story of suffering and then hope. Tanguma says it plainly. He says people see what they want to see, and sometimes they see monsters where the artist only painted a mirror. That's also a fair point. It also lands hard. And yet, there is one thing the skeptics have a harder time with. One detail that sits in the middle of the argument like a stone in still water. You can talk around it. You can offer explanations, but the explanations never quite fit the shape of the thing. Look at the airport from above, not from the terminal windows, from the sky, from a satellite image or an aerial photograph taken on a clear Colorado day when the light is flat. And the geometry of the place is easy to read. The runways at Denver International Airport form a shape. 5 runways arranged in a pattern. And when you trace the outer lines of that pattern, when you connect the edges and follow the angles, the shape that appears is unmistakable. It is a swastika, not a rough approximation, not a shape that requires imagination to see. A clean, precise, four-armed figure, rotated slightly, sitting on the high brown plains east of the city. Now, the skeptics have an answer for this too. They say it's a coincidence of engineering. Runways are laid out to match prevailing wind directions. Denver sits on the edge of the Rocky Mountains, where the wind comes from multiple directions, depending on the season. You need runways pointing different ways to keep planes landing safely in all conditions. The shape that results from that practical math just happens to look like something else. It wasn't designed. It wasn't intended. It's the same reason you can find a face in a cloud or a figure in a wood grain. Maybe that's exactly right. But here is where even some skeptics go quiet. Because the airport's designers knew what it looked like from above. Aerial photography existed. Satellite imaging existed. Someone, at some point in the years of planning and revision and committee approval, looked at a map of those runways and saw what everyone else sees now. And they built it anyway. They didn't shift a runway by 10 degrees. They didn't adjust the angles. They signed off on the plans, broke the ground, and poured the concrete exactly as drawn. The shape stayed. Nobody has ever explained that part. Not cleanly. Not in a way that closes the question all the way down. The skeptics go quiet. And the prairie wind keeps moving over the runways, tracing that old shape in the dry Colorado air. Some people talk because they want attention. Some people talk because they can't sleep. And some people talk because they saw something they were never supposed to see, and the weight of staying quiet became heavier than the weight of being called crazy. The believers who gathered around the Denver airport story weren't wild-eyed men shouting from street corners. They were construction workers with calloused hands and lunch pails. They were electricians who had run wire through corridors that didn't appear on any blueprint they'd been given. They were baggage handlers who had watched freight disappear into sublevels that their supervisors pretended didn't exist. These were ordinary people. People with mortgages and kids in school, and no particular reason to make things up. One thing you notice when you listen to enough of them is how calm they are. Not excited, not angry, just calm. The way someone sounds when they've already made peace with the fact that most people won't believe them. There's a steadiness to that kind of voice, a flatness, like they've told the story enough times that the telling no longer surprises them. A man who worked underground during construction said he was taken to a level he'd never been to before. He wasn't told why. He was told to run conduit along a wall and not ask questions. The wall was poured concrete, smooth and thick. The ceiling was high. The space felt less like a utility corridor and more like a room waiting to become something else. He did his work. He left. He never saw that level again. And when he asked his foreman about it the next day, the foreman looked at him like he'd asked about a dream. That's the detail that stays with people, not the strangeness of what they saw, but the way no one would confirm it afterward. The way the question itself seemed to make people uncomfortable. Silence can be a kind of answer. And down there, beneath the prairie, the silence was very loud. Others talked about the smell. Underground spaces have a particular quality to them. Damp stone, recycled air, the faint metallic taste of ventilation systems working hard. But some workers described something else underneath those familiar smells. Something almost like fresh air, like the space was breathing, like it was connected to something much larger than what they could see. You don't get fresh air circulation in a utility tunnel, not unless that tunnel goes somewhere. The question of how many levels exist beneath Denver International Airport has never been officially answered. The airport acknowledges 5 sublevels. 5. That's already unusual for an airport. Most airports have 1, maybe 2. 5 is a number that raises its hand and asks to be noticed. But the people who worked the construction say 5 is a floor, not a ceiling. They talk about going down further, about freight elevators that had more buttons than the official schematics showed, about stairwells that kept going after they should have stopped. One woman who worked in airport administration for years said she once followed a maintenance worker through a door she'd never noticed before. The corridor beyond it sloped downward at a gentle angle. She walked maybe 200 feet before she heard something ahead of her and turned back. She never found that door again. She looked for it. She walked that same hallway dozens of times in the years that followed. The door was gone, or it had never been there, or she had simply lost the ability to see it. She told this story to a local reporter in 2011. The reporter ran a small piece. Nobody followed up. That's the cost of speaking up. Not punishment, not threats, just the quiet erosion of being ignored. The story gets told. A few people nod. The news cycle moves on, and the person who spoke is left holding something they can't put down and can't give away. But here's what the believers will tell you if you sit with them long enough. They don't need you to believe them. That's not why they talk. They talk because the alternative is to pretend they didn't see what they saw. And that kind of pretending has a price. It hollows something out in a person. It makes the world feel less real. So they keep talking, quietly, without drama, with the particular piece of someone who has already decided that the truth matters more than being believed. The ground beneath Denver International Airport is deep, deeper than the official numbers say, deeper than any map admits. And the people who walked those lower levels carry that depth with them. You can hear it in their voices. That extra weight, that extra knowing. Some things once seen cannot be unseen. The land around Denver International Airport is flat, wide open, pale gold in summer, gray-white in winter. You can see for miles in every direction. Nothing hides out there, or so it seems, but the ground has a memory. And if you know how to read it, the ground will tell you things that no official report ever will. Start with the soil itself. When construction crews broke earth out on the Pina Boulevard corridor in the early 1990s, they found something strange. The ground didn't behave the way prairie soil is supposed to behave. In certain sections, the earth was already disturbed, already moved, already packed down in ways that suggested heavy machinery had been through long before the airport project began. Surveyors noted it. Engineers noted it. And then the notes went quiet. Old-timers in Adams County remember the area before the airport. They remember it as open range, cattle country, dry grass and red-tailed hawks, and the occasional coyote moving through the scrub. But they also remember something else. Certain patches of land that the cattle wouldn't cross. Not because of fencing, not because of water, just because the animals refused. Cattle are stubborn creatures. They go where the grass is. But there were spots out on that high prairie where the herd would stop, turn, and walk the long way around, every time, without fail. Animals know things we've forgotten how to feel. The trees out there tell a story too. Most of the vegetation on the airport grounds was cleared during construction, but aerial photographs from the decades before show something worth noticing. In one section of the property, a cluster of scrub oak and cottonwood grew in a pattern that didn't match the wind or the water table. Trees follow water underground. They lean toward moisture the way a sleeping person leans toward warmth. These trees grew in a rough rectangle, a deliberate shape, the kind of shape that suggests something beneath them was changing the soil, changing the drainage, changing the way water moved through the ground. Rectangles don't occur naturally in a Colorado prairie. There's a creek that used to run through the eastern edge of the airport property. A small thing, seasonal. It would swell in spring with snowmelt from the Rockies and shrink to almost nothing by August. But sometime in the late 1970s, the creek changed course. Not dramatically, not in a flood. It just slowly, quietly shifted. The old channel dried up. A new one formed about 40 yards to the north. Locals who ran cattle on that land noticed it, but couldn't explain it. The ground had simply decided to send the water somewhere else. Water doesn't move uphill, and it doesn't change course without a reason. Something beneath that eastern section altered the way the earth drained. Something large enough to redirect a creek. Prairie dogs are another thing worth mentioning. The high plains around Denver are thick with them. They build their towns everywhere. Thousands of burrows stretching for acres. A whole civilization just a few feet below the surface. But in the area that would become the airport, wildlife surveys done in the 1980s found something unusual. A wide band of land with almost no prairie dog activity at all. The little animals had built their towns right up to the edge of this zone and stopped. On one side, burrows as far as you could see. On the other side, nothing. Clean earth. Untouched. Prairie dogs dig. It's what they do. They dig until they hit something they can't dig through. The meadowlarks were different too. Ranchers who worked that land for generations say the birds sang differently over certain sections. Not louder, not quieter, just off, like they were singing into a space that didn't echo back the way open sky should. One old rancher described it as the birds sounding confused, like they were calling out and getting no answer from the ground. Sound behaves differently over hollow spaces. Any hunter knows that. Any farmer knows that. The earth has a voice, and when something changes beneath it, the voice changes too. None of this proves anything. That's important to say. A creek shifts. Animals avoid a patch of ground. Trees grow in a strange shape. Each one alone is nothing. A curiosity, a footnote. But together, they form a picture. And the picture is of ground that was changed before anyone admits it was touched. Ground that holds something. Ground that the living creatures around it have been quietly, instinctively avoiding for decades. The prairie doesn't lie. It just waits for someone to ask the right question. And the question is simple. What is underneath it? Denver is not alone in this. That's the thing people forget. When you hear about the tunnels beneath the airport, about the levels that go down and down, about the bunkers stocked and sealed and waiting, it feels like a local story, a Colorado story, something strange that happened out on the high prairie where nobody was watching. But pull back, look at the whole map, and you'll see the same shape repeated over and over across 100 years of American history. There is a place in the Virginia mountains called Greenbrier. It sits in white Sulphur Springs, tucked into the Allegheny Hills, like a secret folded into a pocket. The resort there is beautiful. White columns, green lawns that roll soft as a blanket in the summer light. Rich families have been going there since before the Civil War. Presidents have slept in those rooms, and underneath it, for 30 years, the United States government hid a bunker built for Congress. The whole thing was finished in 1962. It had a hospital, a broadcast studio, decontamination chambers, dormitories for every senator and representative in the country. The workers who built it signed papers swearing silence. The staff who maintained it told their families they worked in a television facility. For 3 decades, the secret held. Then a reporter found it, and the government shut the whole thing down, almost overnight, because a secret that's been seen is no longer a secret. The Greenbrier bunker is open for tour now. You can walk through it on a Sunday afternoon. But here is the question that stays with you after you leave. If they built that one and hid it for 30 years, what else did they build that no reporter has found yet? There is another place, Raven Rock Mountain in Pennsylvania, near the Maryland border. The government calls it Site R. It sits inside a granite mountain, carved out by hand, reinforced with steel and concrete. It was built in the early 1950s. It has its own power, its own water, its own air. Thousands of people can live inside it for months without ever touching the surface. It is not a rumor. It is not a theory. It is a real place that exists right now, today, staffed and maintained and ready. The government admits it exists. What they don't say is who gets to go in. That question, who gets a key, is the oldest question in all of this. Every bunker ever built has a list, a manifest, a roster of names that someone somewhere decided were worth saving. And every time that list exists, the same kinds of names appear on it. Politicians, generals, the people who run the banks, the people who own the land, not the people who built the tunnels. There is a pattern in American history, quiet and steady as a river running under ice. The people with power have always made arrangements. They have always found a way to be somewhere else when the trouble comes. They built the Greenbrier and called it a hotel. They carved out Raven Rock and called it a communications site. They built NORAD inside Cheyenne Mountain, just 40 miles south of Denver, and called it a defense installation. Cheyenne Mountain is worth pausing on. It sits there in the Colorado Rockies, a short drive from Denver, blasted hollow by the same kind of ambition that built the airport. Inside is a city 15 freestanding buildings, each one sitting on giant steel springs, so the whole structure can sway during a blast without breaking. It has its own fuel, its own water reservoir, its own blast doors, 3 feet of steel that swing shut in seconds. It was built to survive the end of the world, and it is 40 miles from Denver International Airport. That detail sits there quietly. It doesn't announce itself, but once you notice it, you don't stop noticing it. The people who believe in the bunker beneath the airport point to Cheyenne Mountain and say, "Look at what they already built. Look at how close it is. Look at how comfortable they are with the idea of going underground." Then ask yourself whether it's really so strange to think they did it again. Bigger, newer, deeper, and hid it under the busiest airport in the American West. The Greenbrier hid for 30 years. Raven Rock is still operating. Cheyenne Mountain never closed. Every one of them had a list of names. Every one of them had a door that opened for some people and stayed shut for everyone else. The question isn't whether places like this exist. The question is whether Denver is one of them. And nobody who would know is talking. There are families in this country that have been here so long they stopped counting the generations. Old families, quiet families, the kind that don't show up in celebrity magazines or on the news. They show up in the footnotes of history books, in the fine print of land deeds, in the names carved above the doors of buildings that have been standing since before your great-grandmother was born. These families built things: roads, banks, rail lines. They funded the men who made the decisions, and sometimes they were the men making the decisions. They understood something that most people never learn. Power isn't loud. Power is patient. Power builds things that last 100 years and puts its name on the cornerstone and then steps back into the shadow and waits. Some of those families have names you'd recognize. Some you wouldn't. But their fingerprints are on a lot of what we call America. And some of those fingerprints are on Denver. There are photographs, old ones, taken during the construction years of Denver International, when the ground was still raw and the concrete was still wet. Most of these photos are ordinary. Hard hats and cranes and men standing in front of machines the size of houses. The kind of photos that end up in a corporate archive and never see daylight again, but some of them show things in the background, things that weren't supposed to be there yet, structures that look finished in photos where nothing should be finished, doorways cut into concrete walls that don't appear on any published blueprint, a corridor caught in the edge of one frame that stretches back into darkness farther than the lighting should allow. You can find some of these photos if you look hard enough. They circulate in certain corners of the internet. People argue about them. People say they're doctored. But the thing about a doctored photo is that it usually looks too clean. These don't. These look like someone pointed a camera at something they weren't supposed to see and didn't realize it until later. Then there are the letters. Not official letters. Not memos with government seals. Personal letters. The kind writ on heavy cream paper by people who had the money to use heavy cream paper. A few of these have surfaced over the years, passed between researchers and collectors, and people who spend their lives in the margins of history. One letter, written in the early 1990s, mentions a dinner, a private dinner in Denver. The writer doesn't say where. He mentions the food, the wine, the view of the mountains from the window. And then, almost in passing, he mentions the conversation. He writes that the men at the table were pleased with the progress below. That word, below, he doesn't explain it. He moves on to other things. The letter ends with pleasantries. That one word has kept certain people up at night for 30 years. There are also objects, physical things that were found during construction and quietly removed. A surveyor's pin stamped with a mark that doesn't match any known surveying company. A small bronze medallion found in the dirt at a depth that suggested it had been buried long before construction began. A section of pipe, sealed at both ends, pulled from a trench that wasn't supposed to have anything in it. The pipe was empty when they opened it, but the seals were airtight. Someone had gone to the trouble of sealing an empty pipe and burying it in the ground beneath what would become one of the busiest airports in the world. Why do that? What's the point of a sealed empty pipe? Unless it wasn't always empty. Unless whatever was inside had already been removed before anyone found it. These objects don't prove anything on their own. That's the honest truth. A strange pin and a bronze medallion and a sealed pipe are not a conspiracy. They're just odd. They're the kind of odd that most people shrug at and move on from. But the families that built America didn't get where they are by leaving things to chance. They plan, they document, they mark what's theirs. They leave signs the way a rancher brands cattle, not for the public, for each other, so that anyone who comes along later and knows what to look for will understand. This belongs to us. We were here. We are still here. The prairie around Denver is flat and wide, and it looks like nothing. It looks like empty land under a big sky. But land that looks like nothing has a way of hiding everything. The families that built America knew that better than anyone. They chose their ground carefully. They always have. Before Denver International Airport existed, there was Stapleton. Stapleton International Airport sat closer to the city. It was older, smaller, and familiar in the way that only aging things can be. The concrete was stained. The ceilings were low. The carpet was the color of something that had once been green. Travelers knew where everything was without looking at signs. That kind of knowing takes decades to build. It opened in 1929. For 60 years, it was the front door of Denver. People who grew up near Stapleton remember it the way you remember a grandparent's kitchen. The smell of jet fuel and fast food mixing in the terminal. The particular hum of the ventilation system. The way the light came through the windows in the late afternoon, golden and dusty, like the inside of an old photograph. Families walked through those doors for generations. Grandparents arriving for Christmas, soldiers leaving for wars, children pressed against the glass to watch the planes. And then, in 1995, they closed it. The official reason was simple. Denver had grown too big for Stapleton. The runways were too short. The airspace was too crowded. A new airport had been built on the prairie east of town, and it was time to move on. The city held a ceremony. People took home pieces of the old carpet as souvenirs. A few wept, which surprised even them. But some families remember the closing differently. There were workers at Stapleton who had been there for decades. Baggage handlers, maintenance crews, the men who drove the fuel trucks in the dark before dawn. These were not famous people. They were the kind of people whose names you never learn unless you need something fixed. And some of them, in the years after the closure, started talking. Not loudly, not on television, at kitchen tables mostly, at family dinners where the conversation drifted and someone said, "You know, there was something strange about those last years at Stapleton." The stories vary by family, but certain threads keep appearing. Some workers said that in the final years before the closure, strange trucks began arriving at Stapleton at night. Not cargo planes, trucks coming through service gates that most employees didn't have clearance to use. The trucks were unmarked. They came after midnight and left before the morning shift arrived. Nobody asked questions, because in that kind of work, you learn quickly that asking questions about things that aren't your job is how you stop having a job. Other workers talked about equipment. Specialized equipment, the kind you don't use to move luggage or fuel planes. Heavy machinery, the sort of thing you'd use to move earth. Some of it, they said, was loaded onto those same unmarked trucks. Some of it disappeared into parts of the facility that regular workers never accessed. One story, told by the grandson of a Stapleton maintenance worker, goes like this. His grandfather had worked the overnight shift for 11 years. He was a quiet man, careful. He kept a logbook, the way careful men do, because careful men believe that writing things down makes them real and keeps them honest. In the last 2 years before Stapleton closed, his grandfather wrote in that logbook about a section of the sub-basement that had been sealed off. Not locked, sealed. Concrete poured over the door frame. Fresh concrete, pale gray, still showing the marks of the form boards. His grandfather asked a supervisor about it once. The supervisor told him it was a structural issue. Old tunnels, not safe, nothing to worry about. His grandfather wrote that down too. The logbook is gone now. The grandson doesn't know what happened to it. He thinks it was thrown away when his grandfather died, along with the rest of the things that didn't seem important until later. That's how these stories travel. Not in person to the next across a dinner table, getting a little softer at the edges each time, a little harder at the center. The specific details fade. The feeling stays. And here is the feeling that stays in all of these stories. Something was moved. Something was prepared. Stapleton was not just an airport that outlived its usefulness. It was a place that knew things, and when it closed, those things did not disappear. They went somewhere. 60 miles of tunnels run beneath Denver International Airport. The ground between the old airport and the new one is flat and dry and looks like nothing at all. Prairie grass, red dirt, the occasional hawk sitting on a fence post, watching the highway. But the ground remembers what passed through it. Ground always does. There's a moment in every big story where you stop asking what happened and start asking why it matters. Not why it matters to historians, not why it matters to the government or the engineers or the people who signed the checks. Why it matters to the people who live near it. The ones who drive past it every morning. The ones who watched it rise out of the flat Colorado earth and felt something shift in their chest that they couldn't quite name. Denver is a proud city. Always has been. It sits at the edge of the Rockies, like a man leaning against a fence post, one eye on the mountains and one eye on the plains. It grew up fast and it grew up hard. Silver and gold and cattle and rail. The kind of city where people don't wait for permission. They just build. So when a new airport appeared on the horizon in the early 1990s, Denver paid attention. This wasn't just a construction project. It was a statement, a declaration that this city was going somewhere, that it had a future worth building for. And then the costs started climbing, and the delays started stacking up, and the stories started spreading. Not online, not yet. The internet was barely a whisper back then. These stories spread the old way, across kitchen tables and back fences, in diners and barbershops and union halls. One person told another person who told three more. The way all the best stories travel. The workers talked. That's where it started. Men and women who spent their days underground, pouring concrete and running conduit and laying track for a baggage system that didn't quite work the way anyone said it would. They came home at night with dirt on their boots and something quiet behind their eyes. And when their families asked how the job was going, some of them paused just a half second too long before answering. That pause is where the legend lives. Nobody held a press conference to announce that something strange was happening beneath the prairie. Nobody sent a memo. There were no dramatic revelations. Just that pause. Just that half second of hesitation before a man said fine and reached for his dinner. But Denver noticed. Denver always notices. The city had seen big projects before. It had seen money disappear into the ground and come back up as something useful. But this felt different. The scale felt different. The secrecy felt different. The way certain questions got answered with other questions felt different. And so people started meeting, not in any official way, not with agendas or minutes or recorded votes, just neighbors talking to neighbors, just people who shared a zip code, and a sense that something was happening that they hadn't been invited to understand. These were the meetings nobody attended. Not officially, not on any calendar. A cup of coffee at someone's kitchen table. A conversation in a parking lot that lasted longer than it should have. A phone call that started about one thing and ended about something else entirely. In those conversations, a picture started forming, piece by piece, the way a quilt comes together from scraps that don't look like much on their own, but start to mean something when you lay them side by side. The underground levels, the strange art, the symbols in the floor, the name on the dedication stone, the gargoyles, the murals, the blue horse. None of these things, taken alone, would raise an eyebrow. But together, in the warm light of a kitchen at 9 o'clock at night, they started to feel like a message, like someone had left a trail of breadcrumbs and wasn't sure anyone would follow. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe the airport was exactly what the officials said it was. A transportation hub, a regional investment, a bet on the future of a growing city. But the people of Denver had lived through enough to know that the official version of things is rarely the whole version. They'd seen what happens when powerful people make decisions in rooms that regular people never enter. They'd felt the weight of choices made on their behalf without their knowledge. reasons they were never given. That feeling has a texture to it. It feels like wool against bare skin, warm but slightly rough, present in a way you can't ignore. And so the stories kept moving, kitchen to kitchen, block to block, year to year, growing a little with each telling, picking up detail the way a river picks up silt, becoming something richer and stranger and more alive than any single fact could ever be. That's not a conspiracy. That's a community making sense of something too big to understand alone. Close your eyes for a moment. Not all the way, just enough. Picture the eastern plains of Colorado at night. Not the city, not the lights, the land before all of that. The grass that runs flat and wide in every direction. Silver under a moon that has nowhere to hide. The wind moves through it slow and steady, like breath. Like something enormous sleeping just beneath the surface. This is what was here before the airport. Just this, miles and miles of open nothing. And in that nothing, a rumor was born. Rumors don't start in boardrooms. They don't start in newspapers. They start the way all true things start in the dark, between two people who weren't supposed to be talking. A construction worker tells his wife something strange. She tells her sister. Her sister tells a friend at church. And somewhere in that chain of whispers, the story starts to harden. It stops being a feeling and starts being a fact. It stops being a question and starts being a blueprint. Stand out there on the prairie tonight. Feel the cold come up from the ground. It's a dry cold, the kind that settles into your jacket and stays there. The stars above Denver are thick and low. They press down on you like a ceiling made of light. You are very small out here. The land knows it. The sky knows it. And somewhere under your feet, if the stories are right, something was built that was never meant for you. That's the strange thing about this place. The rumor and the blueprint look almost identical. When people first started talking about secret levels beneath the airport, it sounded like the kind of thing you'd hear from someone who'd had too much coffee and not enough sleep. Underground cities, hidden floors, tunnels that went deeper than any baggage system needed to go. It sounded impossible. It sounded like a story someone made up to feel important. But then blueprints surfaced. Not all of them, just enough. Engineers who worked the job started talking about sublevels that didn't match the public plans. Contractors who poured concrete in rooms that had no official purpose. Workers who were told to build walls and never ask what went behind them. The rumor didn't contradict the blueprint. The rumor described it. The wind picks up out here. You can hear it moving through the dry grass in long, slow waves. It sounds like the land is trying to tell you something in a language you almost understand. The airport sits about 25 miles from downtown Denver. And at night, from out here on the flats, you can see its white roof glowing on the horizon. Those fabric peaks, lit from below, look like mountains made of light, or like something surfacing from underground. There's a version of this story where everything has an explanation. The extra tunnels were for utilities. The extra levels were for maintenance. The cost overruns were just bad planning. In that version, the rumor is just a rumor. A story people told because the airport was strange and expensive and full of unsettling art. And human beings need a reason for things that feel wrong. But there's another version. And in that version, the rumor was always a blueprint. Someone knew what was being built. Someone let the story loose on purpose, the way you open a window to let smoke out of a room. You let a little truth escape so the rest of it stays hidden. The rumor becomes the cover. The conspiracy theory becomes the camouflage. Out here on the prairie, both versions feel equally true. That's the thing about the dark. It doesn't take sides. A coyote calls somewhere to the north. One long note, then silence. The grass settles. The stars don't move. The airport glows on the edge of the world like a city that never sleeps, because something inside it never has to. You think about all the people who passed through those terminals today. Thousands of them, rolling their bags across those floor symbols, walking under those murals, sitting near those gargoyles in their bronze cases, none of them looking down, none of them wondering what's beneath their feet, just moving the way people do, from one place to the next, trusting that the ground will hold. It always has. So far, the wind dies down. The grass goes still. The moon hangs over the plains like a lantern someone forgot to take inside, and the airport keeps glowing, steady and quiet, out there on the edge of the dark. A rumor becomes a blueprint when enough people start believing the same thing. And out here, in the cold and the quiet, it's very easy to believe. The government had a simple answer. It always does. Officials said the airport was a public works project, a bold investment in the future of Colorado. The cost overruns were bureaucratic. The tunnels were for baggage. The murals were art. The symbols in the floor were decorative. The gargoyles were whimsical. The dedication stone was a formality. Every strange thing had a plain explanation, and those explanations were delivered in the flat, patient tone of people who have answered the same question many times and are very tired of it. And yet the ground kept talking, not in words. The ground never uses words. It speaks in weight and silence, and the way certain places feel when you stand in them long enough. Denver International Airport has that feeling. You notice it when the crowd thins out, when you're waiting at a gate and the terminal stretches out ahead of you, longer than it should be, and the light is that particular shade of white that doesn't quite feel like sunlight. Something hums beneath your feet. You tell yourself it's the ventilation system. You're probably right, but you shift your weight anyway. The mystery changed Denver. Not all at once. Slowly, the way water changes stone. The city had always been a place of big ideas and bigger skies. Colorado draws people who want to start over, who want space between themselves and whatever they left behind. Denver sits at exactly 1 mile above sea level, a fact locals will tell you with a quiet pride, like it means something about who they are. And maybe it does. People who choose to live a mile closer to the sky tend to think in larger terms. When the airport conspiracy theories started spreading, Denver didn't run from them. The city leaned in. Local tour companies began offering what they called conspiracy tour of the airport. Guides in dark coats would walk small groups past the murals, past the gargoyles, past the dedication stone, explaining each strange detail in a low and careful voice. The tour sold out. They kept selling out. Travelers who had a long layover would sign up just to have something to do. And they would leave 2 hours later looking slightly different than when they arrived. A little quieter, a little more thoughtful. The airport itself made a remarkable choice. Rather than fight the stories, it started playing with them. In 2018, crews broke ground on a renovation project inside the main terminal. And when they did, the airport put up construction walls covered in jokes. Signs that said things like "sorry" for the disruption. The lizard people made us do it. Cartoon tunnels painted on the barriers. A fake door labeled Illuminati headquarters. The airport was winking at you. It was saying, "Yes, we know what you think." And isn't that funny? Some people found it charming. Some people found it unsettling in a different way, because there is something strange about an institution that responds to accusations of secrecy by making the secrecy into a joke. It's a very effective move. Once you're laughing, you stop asking questions. But the questions didn't stop. They just moved underground, the way water does when the surface freezes over. Online forums kept growing. Researchers kept posting. Former construction workers kept telling their stories to anyone who would listen. The blueprints that didn't match. The floors that were poured over things nobody documented. The sections of tunnel that appeared on no official map. The government said one thing. The people who built the place remembered another. Denver grew up around the airport the way a tree grows around a fence post. The city expanded outward along the highways that led to it. New neighborhoods rose up on the eastern plains. Hotels and warehouses and distribution centers filled in the space between the runways and the mountains. The airport became the eastern edge of something, the boundary marker of a city that kept pushing further into the open land. And somewhere beneath all of it, the stories say, the levels go down. Not 2 levels, not 3. The stories say the construction never really stopped. That the work continued after the ribbon was cut, and the first planes landed, and the news cameras went home. That there are people whose entire job is to maintain something that the public has never been told exists. The government says that's not true. The ground says nothing. The ground just sits there, heavy and patient, the way ground does. It has been there longer than the airport. It will be there longer than the stories. It holds whatever it holds, and it does not explain itself to anyone. That's the thing about secrets buried deep enough. They don't need to be defended. They just need to be deep. There's a man named Carl who used to work the overnight shift at Denver International. He ran the baggage handling system down in the tunnels. He did it for 11 years, and then one day he packed a bag, drove to Albuquerque, and never went back. He talks about it now the way people talk about a dream they can't quite shake. Not with fear, with something closer to wonder, like he saw something he wasn't supposed to see, and it changed the shape of the world for him, and now he can't unsee it. Carl isn't his real name, but the story is real. He says the tunnels beneath the airport are not what the airport tells you they are. He worked in them every night for over a decade. He knew every bend, every junction, every humming fluorescent light that flickered just a little too long before it caught. And he says there were doors down there that nobody ever opened. Doors that didn't appear on any map he was ever handed. Heavy doors set into concrete walls with no handles on the outside. You don't put a door somewhere with no handle on the outside unless you only need it to open from within. He says he asked his supervisor about one of them once. Just once. The supervisor looked at him for a long moment. Then he said, "That's not your section," and he walked away. Carl never asked again. He moved to Albuquerque because his sister lived there. He got a job driving a delivery truck. Quiet work, daylight work. He says he sleeps better now, though he still wakes up sometimes at 3 in the morning with the sound of the tunnel system in his ears. That low, constant hum, the kind of sound that gets into your bones after enough years. He tells the story at his sister's kitchen table, over coffee that's gone cold. He doesn't tell it to scare anyone. He tells it the way a man tells a story he's been carrying too long and finally needs to set down somewhere. He's not the only one. There's a woman who worked in the airport's main terminal for 6 years, running a coffee cart near the south end. She says the murals used to bother the tourists, but they bothered her more because she had to look at them every single day. She memorized every figure in those paintings, the children in the coffins, the soldier with the gas mask, the great green over a burning world. She says, after a while, you stop seeing them as art. You start seeing them as instructions. She moved to Portland. She works in a bakery now. She says the smell of bread is the opposite of whatever that airport smelled like. She can't explain it better than that. Then there's a man who worked security. He patrolled the outer perimeter of the airport grounds, out where the land is flat and brown, and the wind comes in hard off the plains. He says there are ventilation structures out there in the grass, low concrete shapes, like the tops of something much larger buried beneath. He walked past them every night for 4 years. He says they hum, too. A different hum than the tunnels, deeper, like something breathing. He lives in Boise now. He doesn't talk about it much, but when he does, he says the same thing every time. I don't know what's down there, but something is. These are the people who carry the story, not researchers, not theorists with websites and red string pinned to corkboards. Just ordinary people who showed up to work, did their jobs, and came home with something they couldn't explain. They moved away and took it with them. They told their families, their friends, their neighbors in new cities who had never thought twice about an airport in Colorado. And the story spread the way all good stories spread. Person to person, kitchen table to kitchen table. Not because anyone was trying to convince anyone of anything, but because the people telling it genuinely didn't know what they had seen, and they needed someone else to hold it with them for a while. That's how a legend travels. Not in books, not on the news, in the mouths of people who were there and can't stop thinking about it. Carl still has his old ID badge from the airport. He keeps it in a drawer. He says he doesn't know why he kept it. He just couldn't throw it away. Some things you hold on to even when you can't explain what they mean. People ask that question more than you'd think. Why Denver? Why this flat, windswept stretch of Colorado prairie? Why not somewhere older, somewhere with more history, somewhere closer to the ocean or the halls of power on the coasts? It's a fair thing to wonder. And the more you sit with it, the stranger the answer gets. Denver sits almost exactly in the middle of the country. Draw a line from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Draw another from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico. those two lines cross somewhere very close to where that airport stands. That's not a coincidence people invented after the fact. Geographers and military planners have known it for over 100 years. The center of a country is the last place an enemy reaches. It's the first place survivors gather. The altitude matters too. Denver sits at a mile above sea level. The air is thinner up here. The ground is harder. The Rocky Mountains rise just to the west, like a stone wall built by the earth itself, gray and purple and permanent, catching the light in long golden stripes at dusk. Those mountains are full of tunnels, old mining shafts, military installations carved into granite, places that don't appear on any map you can buy at a gas station. The soil under the eastern plains of Colorado is something else entirely. It's dense. It's dry. It doesn't shift the way coastal soil does. It doesn't flood the way river valleys do. If you wanted to build something underground and have it last 1,000 years, you'd want soil like this. Engineers know it. Architects know it. And if the people who plan for the end of the world know anything, they know it too. There's a word that keeps coming up when people talk about why Denver was chosen. That word is continuity, not survival, not escape. Continuity. The idea that whatever comes next, something carries through. A record, a structure, a line of authority that doesn't break. Denver sitting in its high, dry center, surrounded by mountains and open sky, the color of a faded quilt, is the kind of place where something could carry through. The city itself is young by American standards. It doesn't have the deep colonial roots of Boston or Philadelphia. It doesn't have the old money of New York or the political gravity of Washington. What it has is space, room to build without tearing something else down, room to dig without disturbing 1,000 years of settled ground, room to plan without too many eyes watching. And people did watch eventually. They always do. The workers who poured the concrete, the engineers who read the blueprints, the locals who noticed that the construction went on longer than it should have, cost more than it should have, and left behind more earth than any airport needed to move. They watched and they talked, and the story spread the way stories do, one person at a time, over coffee and across fences, and in the quiet hours before sleep. But here's the thing that stays with you. The question underneath all the other questions. It isn't really about tunnels or bunkers or murals or gargoyles or the name on a dedication stone. Those are details, fascinating ones, sure, but details. The real question is simpler. It's this: if you were going to build something meant to outlast everything else, meant to survive whatever the worst day in human history looks like, meant to keep some version of order alive when the rest of the world goes quiet, where would you put it? You'd put it somewhere central, somewhere high and dry, somewhere with mountains at its back and open land in every direction, somewhere young enough that the ground doesn't remember too much, somewhere that looks, from the outside, like nothing more than a very large airport with some unusual art. You'd put it exactly here. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe Denver wasn't chosen for any hidden reason at all. Maybe it was chosen for all the obvious ones. And the choosing itself is what feels like a secret. Because when something makes perfect sense and nobody told you it was coming, it can feel like a conspiracy, even when it isn't one. Or maybe it is one. Maybe both things are true at the same time. The prairie doesn't say. The mountains don't say. The airport sits out there on its flat expanse of land, white tent roof, glowing against the Colorado sky, like something that landed and decided to stay. The planes come and go. The tunnels run beneath. And somewhere under all of it, if the stories are right, something waits. It's been waiting a long time. So here you are. The fire has burned down to coals. The room is quiet. And somewhere out there, past the mountains and the plains and the long dark miles of American night, the Denver airport is still open. It never really closes. Planes come in low over the prairie at all hours. Their lights blink red and white against the black sky. The runways glow pale and steady, like something lit from underneath. And the big white roof rises up out of the flat earth. Those peaked white tents catching whatever light the stars will give. It looks like a dream from a distance. It looks like something that wasn't supposed to be there. And maybe that's the point. You've heard the whole story now. The tunnels that go too deep. the murals that say too much, the stone with the name no one could place, the gargoyles watching the bags go by, the blue horse with the red eyes standing at the entrance like a guardian nobody hired, the families who built this country and never really stepped back from it, the rooms below the rooms below the rooms. None of it has been proven. None of it has been disproven either. And that space between those two things, that quiet, wide open space, is exactly where stories like this one live. They live there because people keep them alive. A construction worker tells his brother tells his wife tells a friend over coffee. The friend writes it down. Someone reads what she wrote and adds a detail they heard from someone else. And the story grows. It breathes. It takes on a shape of its own. That's how it's always worked in this country. The legends that last aren't the ones with the most evidence. They're the ones that touch something real, something people already feel but can't quite name. A sense that the world has more layers than we're shown. That the people at the top of things know more than they say. That somewhere, in some basement or bunker or back room, decisions get made that the rest of us never hear about. The Denver airport just gave that feeling a place to stand. And it's a good place. A strange place. A place where the art on the walls shows the end of the world and the beginning of something new. Where a horse made of blue metal breathes fire at the sky. Where gargoyles sit in bronze suitcases and wink at the people rushing past. Where the floor holds symbols that point towards something old and unspoken. Whoever built that place knew what they were doing. Whether it was art or architecture or something else entirely, they built a building that people would never stop talking about, never stop wondering about, never stop walking through with their eyes a little wider than they need to be. And that's a kind of power too. Tonight, right now, the airport is quiet in the way that big empty spaces get quiet after midnight. The cleaning crews move through the long corridors with their soft machines. The lights hum overhead, that low steady hum that big buildings make when most of the people have gone. The murals glow on the walls. The children in the paintings sleep under a golden light. The white peaks of the roof hold still against the cold Colorado sky. Below the terminal, the tunnels run their slow routes The baggage carts roll through on their tracks. The air smells of concrete and recycled warmth. And deeper than that, if the stories are true, other halls wait in the dark. Other rooms, other doors that open for people whose names you'll never read in a newspaper. Or maybe it's just an airport. Maybe it's just a very strange, very expensive, very ambitious airport that someone built too big and too far from the city, and filled with art that made everyone uncomfortable. Maybe the tunnels are just for luggage. Maybe the swastika in the runway is just a coincidence of geometry. Maybe the New World Airport Commission was just a local business group with a taste for dramatic names. Maybe, but the Prairie remembers what was there before the concrete came, and the mountains to the west have watched a lot of things get built and buried and built over again. And the stars above Denver tonight don't care either way. They just burn cold and steady, the way they always have. The story is told. The fire is low. The night is deep around you. Subscribe for a brand new mystery every night. One tap and a new story is waiting for you tomorrow. Sleep